Hello everyone. In this video, I'm analyzing two major climate speeches from Greta Thunberg in her 2019 address at the UN Climate Action Summit and Leonardo DiCaprio's 2014 address, also at the UN Climate Summit. I'll look at how each speaker balances poise and passion, how they use claims, warrants, and evidence, and how they establish credibility, and how they rely on ethos, pathos, and logos. I'll also identify the persuasive question type in each speech. Starting with Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg's delivery is defined by a sharp contrast between poise and passion. She stands calmly and speaks plainly, but her tone carries intense urgency and frustration. Her emotional intensity, especially moments like, "How dare you," creates a powerful moral charge, while her steady posture keeps her message grounded. Her argument uses a clear structure of claims, warrants, and evidence. Her central claim is that world leaders have failed younger generations by ignoring climate science. The warrant is that if leaders truly understood or cared about the science, they would act immediately. Her evidence comes from decades of scientific consensus and the accelerating impacts of climate change. She doesn't overwhelm the audience with numbers, but instead she uses enough scientific grounding to support her moral argument. Thunberg's credibility comes from her identity and her consistency throughout her speech. She speaks as a young person whose future is directly affected by climate inaction, and she aligns herself with scientific research throughout the speech. Her global activism, school strikes, and international marches reinforces her ethos as someone deeply committed to the issue. In terms of rhetorical appeals, Thunberg uses a strong mix of ethos, pathos, and logos. Her ethos comes from her moral stance and her alignment with science. Her pathos is central, as she highlights suffering, injustice, and urgency. Her logos appears through references to scientific consensus and climate data. Overall, Thunberg's speech addresses a policy question. She is urging leaders to take immediate action on climate change, supported by both factual claims and value-based moral reasoning. Moving on to DiCaprio. DiCaprio's delivery balances, again, both poise and passion, but in a different way. His tone is calm, polished, and professional. His passion comes through his pacing and emphasis, but he never loses composure. His delivery feels intentional and steady, which strengthens his credibility as a public figure speaking on a global stage. DiCaprio also uses a clear structure of claims, warrants, and evidence. His main claim is that climate change is real, urgent, and caused by human activity. His warrant is that if climate change is scientifically proven and already harming communities, then leaders must act. His evidence includes IPCC reports, extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and the consequences of fossil fuel dependence. His credibility comes from his long-standing environmental activism and the work of his foundation. He cites scientific consensus and global data, and he speaks as a UN messenger of peace, which gives him institutional legitimacy. His rhetorical appeals are well-balanced. His ethos comes from his activism and alignment with scientific experts. His pathos appears in his warnings about vulnerable communities and future generations, and his logos is present through statistics, scientific reports, and evidence of human-driven climate impacts. Like Thunberg, DiCaprio is addressing a policy question. He calls for governments to adopt sustainable energy, enforce climate regulations, and transition away from fossil fuels. To close, both speakers rely heavily on scientific evidence and moral urgency. Thunberg leans more on emotional intensity and moral outrage, while DiCaprio leans more on institutional credibility and scientific authority. But ultimately, both speeches aim to persuade global leaders to adopt stronger climate policies.